All right, hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 157. It's 3 years plus 1 week, and today is the 8th of November. Sadly, we're missing Bradley today, although he is in Las Vegas. Oh, look at that. He's going to make me a dirty liar. How's it going, Bradley? Oh, maybe not.
Can you hear us, Bradley?
What's up, bitches?
What's up, buddy?
Well, we are live.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, hey, we were just doing the intro and said that you were in Las Vegas. So why don't you tell everybody what you're up to?
All right, give me one moment. Let me see if I can turn all this on. I don't know why my camera's not coming on. Hold on a minute. Okay, anyways, we're going to do it without a camera. I just got here like, I don't know, an hour and a, well, 2 hours ago maybe. I got up at 2 a.m. Eastern this morning to catch the flight out here. And so I only had 3 hours of sleep. I'm really, really tired, but I just had dinner or lunch, excuse me. And just got back to the room and just wanted to check in with you guys and see how everything's going.
Awesome. Yeah, things are good. Like I said, we're just getting started. So you going to be able to hang out for a little bit and listen in, or?
Yeah, I'll hang out for a few as long as it's not like, how's the audio? Everything all right?
Oh, yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, cool. Then, yeah, I'll stick around for a bit.
All right, well, let's keep rolling then. Hernan, how's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. It's been a busy day, but everything's good. I'm excited to be here to have another Hump Day Hangout. So we're sticking to it.
Good deal. I'm going to take this moment to impress upon everybody the importance of a mastermind. And I'm not talking about our mastermind. Hernan, before this call, you don't have to say who it was or exactly what you're doing, but you were on a call doing what?
Oh, yeah. I was in a mastermind getting coached pretty much. And I got in another one this Monday. Are like way ahead. They're smarter, prettier, you know, like more skilled than I am. So I'm there. Like, yeah, you need to be there, right? It's not like that's amazing. Like we have everything figured out. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. So yeah, you need to be constantly pushing yourself. So that's basically what we're doing.
Awesome, good deal. Marco, how are you doing?
My back is fucked up. That's how I'm doing, man.
But
I'm sorry, dude. I'm not laughing at you, Marco. I'm laughing at the way that you just like expressed how you feel about it. So,
but life's good, man. It's an injury. It's not like I'm dying or anything, right? It's not cancer, thank God. But it hurts. It hurts. It doesn't hurt any less, right? So it's just fucked up. Life's good. Back's fucked up. That's how it goes.
Marco, a real quick public shout out to you. I'm working on it. I don't know if you guys can see this with the glare, but I'm working my way through the Emperor's Handbook. So thanks again for recommending that.
Awesome book, man.
It's good stuff. Good translation and loving it. So I'll probably do a quick write-up on it and share that with people too. I think so far it's a good book and definitely worth reading for everybody. All right, just got a few announcements I want to run through real quick. The usual, man, this is really messing me up. I'm going to take my headphones off. All right, there we go. Those are weirding me out. I've got some noise canceling headphones and it was just incredibly quiet and doesn't seem right. So anyways, all right, if you're new to Semantic Mastery and you're listening to these weirdos and especially me talking and wonder what the hell's going on, the best place for you to get started is the battle plan, all right? It's the SEO blueprint. I'm gonna pop a link in here in a second where you can get started with that. And we got a special coupon code for you so you can save 75 bucks, all right? A lot of times people come to Semantic Mastery, they see us in the Hump Day Hangouts, you know, they see the website and they're wondering, where's the best place for me to get started? Should I go here, go there? Start with the battle plan, all right? Then secondly, if you haven't been to SearchSpace yet, head over to searchspace.com. All right, it's a free account creation. There's some free tools you can use, and then that's the home of all the just kick-ass done-for-you services and a bunch of the other stuff that is coming soon that we'll tell you more about in the future here. And then also, if you have questions throughout the week, you can always submit them at this link that you got here with. We update that about 24 to 36 hours after the previous events. You got to give us about a day and a half to get things reset up. But also you can go to support.semanticmastery, and we've got a lot of archive posts there. And like when Bradley does some drawings and he does this beautiful Snagit drawings, and we save those and put them up there so that people can go check those out later. So other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. I did just want to mention that we have the replay up for Jeffrey Smith and his SEO Bootcamp webinar. That was fantastic. Got a lot of really good feedback from people. And if you're interested, again, I'm going to pop that link in here. You can go check out that replay as soon as you want after Hump Day Hangouts. I think that'll do it. I'm going to put on my headphones so I can actually hear you guys. So
sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
That's
good?
Pretty cool. We should be good. So
right,
Chris should join us. So maybe you want to welcome him too?
Hey, Chris is in Vegas too, man.
Yeah, man.
You guys
Vegas, baby.
Get up to some mischief.
We'll see.
Yeah,
yeah. Actually, I've talked to 2 Uber drivers since I've been here this morning, and they told me to go to Fremont Street this evening around 7 p.m. because apparently, like, it's a good place to go in the evening with like a lot of cool stuff to see and light shows and all kinds of stuff. So I think that's what I'm going to do this evening, Chris. So maybe if you want, we can hang out there.
Sounds good.
So what are you guys there? Like, Bradley, what are you doing in Vegas, if you want to tell the guys a little bit? I'm here for the SEO Rockstars 2017 event. I'm actually a speaker. This is the first event that I'm actually going to be speaking at from stage. You know, we've had Semantic Mastery for several years now, and we do everything online, but this is actually the first like live event that I'm going to be speaking at. So I'm a bit nervous, but at the same time, I'm also really excited because this is kind of a big step for us and for me especially. And that's part of the reason why I joined the Toastmasters organization, was so that I could prepare for this speech event. However, I'm not just going to like dump Toastmasters after this event. It's something that I found to be incredibly valuable. So it's something that I'm going to continue doing. In fact, last night I did my second speech for the Toastmasters organization, which was a practice for my speech here at the SEO Rockstars event. And what's funny is I was actually more nervous about giving my speech for Toastmasters last night than I am about giving it in front of a room full of online entrepreneurs. And the reason why is because in online entrepreneurs, like a room full of SEOs, basically, you know, I feel comfortable because that's my scene, that's my crowd. So I don't feel as nervous in front of them as I will in front of like other people that don't know anything about our industry, and I'm trying to give a speech that makes sense to them. Can you guys, does that make sense? Yeah, 100%.
So like, it was funny because after my speech last night, the evaluators, you know, evaluated my speech and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, you know, because I had notes and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, you know, you could have probably just done some like bullet points on index cards because you know your material. Like, it's clear that you know your material. So you probably didn't need to have so many prepared notes. And I was like, well, actually, I have more prepared notes for the Toastmasters presentation than I did for the actual SEO rock, you know, the actual speech that I'm giving at this event. And it was just because I was more nervous about giving it to a room full of like public speaker evaluators than other online entrepreneurs. So I thought it was pretty funny that, you know, it's kind of like flip-flopped. I'm more nervous about giving speech at Toastmasters than I was at an actual event. So I'm really looking forward to doing that this week. It's kind of a big step. So
that's pretty cool. And I like the topic that you choose, if you can disclose it a little bit before the actual event, that it's an SEO Rockstar event, but you're not actually talking about SEO, like you're talking about something else.
Yeah, it was interesting because when I got invited to come speak, you know, I realized that when I saw the lineup of speakers, I said, look, you know, there are so many other SEOs that are going to be speaking about SEO and digital marketing stuff that actually I feel have surpassed my abilities to where I didn't really feel qualified to be speaking about that. So I decided to speak about business building and basically like developing success habits and growing a business, period. And so my speech is going to be about three points that I'm going to make. The first being developing successful habits, you know, goal setting and planning, basically. Point number 2 is outsourcing. And point number 3 is partnerships and joint ventures. So essentially my speech is going to be about not SEO specifically. It's going to be about how to grow your business in the digital marketing space, period. And I feel that was a much more fitting and appropriate speech for me to give, especially considering the fact that I'm going to be sharing the stage with multiple SEOs that are quite advanced. So
right. And I think it's valuable for them too, because most of them are actually like, if it is our case, right? We're struggling with those kind of things. It's a challenge. Like once you nail down your craft, you need to learn a bunch of other skill sets, which are, you know, outsourcing, managing, and that kind of thing. So It's hard.
Yeah, the problem, the thing is, and very quickly, just because I know we need to move on, but the thing is I think the industry is flawed in that basically people come into this industry with the intention of learning a particular skill, how to become really, really good at fulfilling a service, whether that's SEO or PPC services or lead gen or whatever. And so like our industry is rife with training products that develop a very specialized skill. But I think what's lacking is how to monetize that skill and build a business around that skill. And to be honest, as through the years of our experience now within Semantic Mastery and then obviously within my own businesses as well, I feel like that's backwards. It really should be, in my opinion, you should learn how to develop business and you should learn sales and marketing first. And then either if you want to learn like specialized skills, you can, but as a business owner, it makes more sense to actually find talent that knows that and hire them, because you can actually scale and make a ton more money and have a much more scalable business if you learn the sales and marketing side of things and outsource or find partnerships and joint venture agreements, form joint venture agreements where with specialized, people with specialized skill sets, because like, that's what I think, like, and here's the thing, guys, I think there is a real opportunity in our industry right now for people that have highly developed skill sets, but don't have the business and marketing and sales side of things down. And so I think there's a real wide gap, like a huge opportunity for people that can go out and develop like prospecting and sales, marketing, client generation, client getting basically, and in match or kind of like, play matchmaker between service providers and the customers. And I think that's where the true opportunity is. Don't get me wrong, guys. We teach marketing stuff. So it's not that we're telling you not to learn that stuff, but if you want to build a scalable business that doesn't require you to do all the work, I think it's better to spend time really learning the sales and marketing and prospecting side of things and find talent that already has the skill set. And to be honest, if I had to start all over again, that's what I would do. I would really focus on that whole sales, marketing, prospecting side of the business, and then find other people to do all the technical stuff that really excel in that field, but maybe don't have those people skills type, so to speak. And so again, I'm not discouraging anybody from learning the technical side of stuff at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there is a lot of opportunity out there right now for people that maybe are struggling to learn the technical side of stuff. If, perhaps, or at least just consider possibly looking at approaching it from a different angle, because there are a lot of technicians, like really highly skilled technicians in this industry that can't sell their services or don't do it effectively because they're the technical type of people. And so it's usually like a mismatch of talents, so to speak. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And again, that's part of the reason why I'm trying to kind of divert more of like the stuff that I teach about on more like business building side of stuff, because I think that is where a lot of the training lacks in this industry. And I think a lot of you guys would agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So if we're good to go, I can start sharing my screen and
yeah, let's do this. Cool. I can see your screen. Looking good.
All right. Pretty cool. So Ben, what's up, Ben? Hey, Bradley, guys. I'm following your approach of creating videos for a professional niche in a particular city and then scaling out, doing the same for each city with 50K plus population across the state. The initial objective is 50 videos for keywords drawn from PowerSuggest Pro and ranking them on page 1. I'm documenting my work. My question is, how do you structure your organization? I have always thought I would just set up processes to create a product line for video creation and ranking. However, I read an article in Moz that talked about each client being a separate project. It made sense as a project has a timeline, deadline, accountabilities, etc. What's your take? Do you treat each client objective as a project like this? So if you don't mind, I'll go, and then I would definitely love to say about this. But Ben, I had that exact same issue when I had my SEO company, and I still do some SEO work, don't get me wrong, but I used to treat every customer and every client as a custom project, And the reality is that you can pretty much take this twofold approach. Number one would be to have a cookie cutter, right, approach where you should say, okay, so this is what I can offer to you. So that's cheaper. So that's where the processing and the product line comes into play. Or you can target each client as a standalone or custom project. If that's the case, you need to charge accordingly. Because, as you're correctly saying, each project has a timeline, deadline, accountabilities. You need to pretty much reinvent the wheel. Well, not reinvent the wheel, but you need to set up the whole processes from scratch, from the ground up, for every new custom client that you have. And I do have some custom clients right now, but they pay handsomely because of that. So there are basically two ways here. You can either A, get the package, right? Get the A, B, and C delivered to you, and you pay X. You pay way less than you would pay for a custom project. That will take you much more time, but they will need to pay accordingly. What do you guys think?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Hernan, and I think there's to answer Ben's question, you can kind of do a hybrid of both, Ben. There's a lot to be said for having like kind of a templatized process for any client, and you can do that. In other words, you can kind of set up an assembly line regardless of the client. I always recommend, and you guys know this, if you've been following us for any amount of time, I recommend that you really zero in or kind of niche down into or drill down into a very specific niche, because once you've learned the keyword research and like the vocabulary of that particular industry, that kind of stuff, like you can scale very, very quickly, because every time you take on a new client within a new industry. So if you are just like a local marketing agency in a particular city, for example, you're going to take on all different kinds of clients. You're going to have contractors and maybe dentists and insurance salesmen and perhaps real estate, whatever. There's so many different business types out there. And every time that you take on a new industry type of client, you have to go through that whole research process all over again. And so to me, it's not a very efficient way to build a business. It's certainly possible, and that's how a lot of agencies go about building their business. So it's not uncommon, but it's not very efficient in my opinion. So I always recommend, zeroing in on a very specific niche or vertical, and in scaling by geography. So in other words, if like, let's say that plumbers were your deal, like that was your thing, then you could scale by just targeting other cities, because now you already know all the marketing objectives of a plumbing business or plumbing contractor. So you don't have to do all the research again. And it doesn't matter which city you go in, all the keywords and the vocabulary and the pain points are all going to be the same. But so in that case, you could templatize an entire process that is duplicatable just like that. It's very, very easy to duplicate because all the research is done. The only thing you really switch out is the company name and the local modifiers. And so again, guys, I highly encourage that that's the way that you build your business, because it's so much more scalable. It's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. However, that said, I get that a lot of people want to, and just like I did, guys, I started my agency by being a local marketer. I would take any business type as long as it was within my target geographic area. And so if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. You can still templatize a lot of that process, but just understand that you should also templatize or try to create processes for that initial research that's going to be required for each different industry type. So although the actual like keyword research and understanding the vocabulary and finding what the pain points are in the market, all of that is going to be unique or specific to each individual business type within your market area or your target area, your farm area, so to speak. You can still come up with a templatized process, right? Or you can systematize how the keyword research is done, how to identify the market pain points, the vocabulary, that kind of stuff. And so it's not an easy task to do that kind of stuff, guys. But once you develop the process for developing it, and Mike Cooch, who does a lot of local marketing stuff, he calls it the process, right? And that's developing a process for developing processes. And that's absolutely critical if you want to scale your business. And that's something like we just talked about a few moments ago is learning how to scale a business, you need to always create processes out of everything that you do in your business so that you don't have to continue doing it over and over and over again. You can outsource it. When you have working procedures or documented process or standard operating procedures, basically, for any particular task, then you can outsource that or delegate that off to somebody else. And so that applies to even keyword research and doing market research, period. You can still process or systematize that process itself. And again, it's not an easy task, but it's something that can certainly be done. So if that's, either way, however you want to do it, Ben, it's really going to be up to you. It depends on how quickly you want to scale. You're going to do more work if you try to cater to multiple industry types than you would if you just niche down into one specific industry. But again, it really comes down to what it is, what type of business you want to build.
Good. So Quit This House is asking, hello, I just got my DFY RYS stack delivered. I was told that it's my responsibility to complete the pages in the Gsite. Can you point me to some resources that will help me understand what to put on these pages and optimize them? Thank you. Marco, do you have anything for Quit This House?
I don't really understand this question. Was the Gsite delivered?
Yeah,
or did he just get a drive stack?
No, I think he's saying that he was told he was
responsible. Let's just answer it both ways, just in case, since it is kind of ambiguous. So let's say he just ordered a RYS stack without a Gsite, and then let's say he got the Gsite done too. What would we tell him?
If he only got the drive stack delivered, I would say reach out to me. Not this week, because my back's fucked up, as I said. Probably next week sometime, and I'll have the Gsite built for you. If you do have a Gsite built, then everything that's shared on, all of the processes and whatever, that's all inside RYS Academy Reloaded, and it's not something that we're going to share out publicly. And I'm sorry. I would suggest that you do as other people have done and just reverse engineer what you got.
Yeah, if I can jump in for a moment, if the Gsite was built as part of the drive stack, all the pages should be there, unless I'm not understanding the question. What I'm thinking he was asking was like, okay, I got the Gsite back and the pages aren't there. They should be there because that should all be auto-populated by the script. Unless it's a new Gsite, in which case, and again, I'm not sure how the process is with that, but the pages should all be present on the Gsite if you purchased it from us, right?
We're not doing new I believe he did get a new Gsite with this one, because we do the old Gsite and then copy it over to the new Gsites.
Right. Okay.
He should have gotten both. It should be auto populated. He shouldn't have to do anything except he should have delivered the information that was requested, target URLs, the niche, all of the keyword research should have been done. If none of that was done, then get back with me. But as far as adding pages and whatever else, we've talked about mirroring the money site or whatever project it is that you're working on. So you can take a look at our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of information that we've shared openly on copying your money site on the Gsite so that you push power over. I'm not going to disclose on how you go about closing the loop. It should have been done for you if you delivered your GMB information. Everything was taken care of. I mean, when you order done for you services, the whole point of getting it done is so that you don't have to do anything except sit and wait, right? And that, I think Paul Fussell, who's been with us since forever, has a comment about that and a question. So I think that's as far as I'm going to go with this one, because I need more information.
You got it.
Yeah.
So Mohammed has like 3 questions, so we will just answer one of them, Mohammed. Just for respect of the other guys. If if we have time, we can come back to you. If not, you can just post them for the next Hump Hangout. So, hey guys, is it necessary to stick to a schedule when posting to a blog? If I habitually post on Mondays, would it matter if I sometimes post it on Tuesday? I don't think it will make that big of a difference as long as you keep posting every week or every 2 or twice a week. That would be my intake on it. If you're setting up your schedule to post twice a week, then if it is like 1 week, you cannot do it on Monday and Tuesdays, and or Mondays and Wednesday, and you end up doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would agree. Especially when you're first starting out with the project, guys. If you're blogging specifically for SEO, like if you don't have an audience, like followers of the blog, people that have subscribed and that kind of stuff, if it's purely an SEO tactic, it really doesn't matter when you blog. Like the frequency of publishing is important, but the specific days is not. So as long as you stay consistent with your frequency of publishing, then you should be fine. What I would say is a concern, though, or that you should be concerned with, is if you start to generate a following of people that literally subscribe and read your blog posts, they're going to become used to, or expect blog posts on a certain day to be published. And if you're inconsistent with that, then you will lose readers, because people will see inconsistency in your publishing schedule. So again, if it's purely an SEO tactic, absolutely, it really doesn't make any difference. Just keep the frequency of publishing consistent. It doesn't have to be on consistent days, but the frequency should remain relatively consistent. However, if you do have followers, readers of the blog, then you should get into a consistent schedule.
All right, pretty cool. So Jay, what's up, Jay? Hey, Bradley, I'm also a Brightlocal user. What do you think of their citation burst service? Number one, and do you trust their local rankings checker linked to here? So let's open this up.
Okay,
Have
Jay.
you used the citation burst?
I do occasionally, but very rarely, because guys, typically we use the citation service through SERP obviously, which is actually cheaper than the Brightlocal service, and the quality is the same. So I usually don't use that. I've used the Brightlocal service in the past for trying to do very specific citation cleanups. In other words, as part of the citation burst service, you can have Brightlocal go in and correct incorrect data on citations. And here's the thing. I always recommend, if you have a citation cleanup job to do, to go to Loganix. Go to semanticmastery.com/LOGANIX. And that'll take you over to Loganix. And they have a citation cleanup service. It's $500. So it's not cheap, but it's super, super effective, at least in the US market. It's super, super effective. It's hands down the best citation cleanup service I've ever found. But it's $500. So it doesn't matter if you have 5 inconsistent citations or 500, it's still the same cost. So if I am looking at my citation report and I see that I've got, like, maybe, for a client or a lead gen site, whatever, I've got 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever, 20 citations that have inconsistent data that need to be updated or corrected, then I will go to perhaps Brightlocal and pay $3 per citation cleanup, so that I'm only paying for what is actually needed. Whereas if I take a business that's been established for some amount of time, and then they change locations, or they change URLs, or they change phone numbers, now I've got a shit ton of citations to clean up, then I'm just going to go to Loganix and pay them to do it, because they're going to take care of all of them for $500. But if I only have a handful that are inconsistent, then I'm obviously going to go with the a la carte method, which means I can purchase just citation cleanups for the ones that need to be corrected. And in that case, it's much more cost effective to go through something like Brightlocal. But that's typically the only time that I use the Brightlocal citation burst service. Second question was, do you trust their local ranking checker? Yeah, I do, only because I use that for all of my local client reports. Guys, that is the actual service, Brightlocal, that I use for all of my client reporting, because you can white label the reports, put your own logo and stuff on there, and the reports are good. They're not 100% accurate as far as the local ranks checker, because I know a lot of the times I will look at the report, and then I'll go do some local searches myself, and I will see different results, but they're close enough. And I just explain that same thing to the client, by the way. I just say, look, not all rank trackers are going to be consistent. It's going to vary depending on where the search is being performed from. And so although the reports I deliver you are going to be a general indication of where your rankings are, if you search from your own IPs, you're going to see that they're going to fluctuate or vary from what's in the report. So just keep that in mind. And that's what I always, I always disclose that kind of stuff, guys, to be really transparent with my clients, because when you are transparent like that with your clients, you disclose that stuff up front, then that actually increases the trust, the level of trust with you than it would be to like not mention it and then have them look and see discrepancies and then question you about it. That starts to foster like doubt in the relationship. So it's better just to get ahead of it and just state that up front and say, listen, rank checking is not an exact science because it's going to depend on the IPs where the search is being done from. And so the service that I use to actually do the rank reporting is pretty accurate, but there are going to be some discrepancies. So when I send you the report, if you want to check on them individually, that's up to you. But this is a pretty good indication of what the health status of your site is.
Makes sense. So here we go, Paul. Thank you for the comment, Paul. This is amazing. He's basically saying, I have been with you guys since episode 25. The shit that you guys teach works. So thank you, Paul, for your comments. RYS works, and it takes as long as it takes, sometimes 24 hours, sometimes 3 weeks, but it always works. So my question is, if I have a business ranked in the map pack for the city, it is verified in GBM. To rank in the other cities, do I have to do more RYS tags for each city, or can I just add more my maps for the other cities inside the same stack? What do you guys think?
You want me to jump on it first, or you want Marco?
Yeah, like whatever. If you want to jump in first, Bradley, and then Marco, whatever, that's fine.
All right. Paul, it's difficult to rank in some of the adjacent cities. It's tough. It depends on the level of competition. If it's a lower competition keyword, it can be done. There's ways that you can manipulate that a bit. One would be to have locations, pages on your site or posts. It can be pages or posts on the actual money site that target those as well. Those like adjacent townships or cities, locations, whatever you want to call them. It's going to vary depending, like state by state, really. So in other words, if you want, ranking your GMB, your Google My Business page in the location, the city that it's physically located in, that's not the problem, right? That's pretty much standard stuff. That's what we all try to do. The problem is trying to rank that listing, that GMB page, in the adjacent cities. Even if they're closely adjacent, it's difficult to do, because if there's other verified Google My Business listings that are physically located in those adjacent cities, then those are going to be given priority by Google. That doesn't mean that you can't rank there, but it's going to really determine on it's going to depend on the level of competition. And again, if it's more competitive stuff, it's going to be very difficult to rank your Google My Business listing in those adjacent areas because you're not physically located there. Lower competition, you can, and I'm going to give you some tips right now on how to do that. So number one is to have posts and or pages on your site that target those adjacent areas, right? So that are optimized for those adjacent areas. Something else that you can do, and when I say optimize for those guys, I mean like you can have posts or pages on your site that you even don't include in like the navigation menu. You want to include them in your sitemap, but you can literally have those pages to where nobody, like a visitor to your site, can't even find those pages unless they found them from search. In other words, there's not like a direct link from your navigation pages, because, and you can add them to your site if you want. But my point is, like, sometimes people don't want to do that because it creates too much confusion, whatever. My point is just having pages or posts published on your site that are optimized for those adjacent areas, each one of the individual areas that you want to target. And you can target, the content can be written. I have a VA that I trained how to do this, and she does all the work for these now. It's awesome. But she goes in and just basically does some research on each one of the individual townships and figures out like points of interest, parks, historical monuments, popular eateries and places and things like that. And it just does a brief summary of that location, like that city, that township, that municipality, and just writes a synopsis, a brief summary of that area. And it can be like 300 to 500 words. That's all it takes. And then post that within just a brief blurb about, services that your company or your lead gen site or whatever provides, So the post itself is optimized for the area, but it's just got like a little blurb about the service that you guys provide, right? And then here's the thing, you can do driving directions. So if you go to Google Maps and you type in, like if it's a service area business, which means like contractors, for example, typically serve the customers at the customer location, then what you would do is create driving directions from the point of origin where the business is actually physically located to those municipalities or townships or cities, the other locations, the adjacent areas. So it would be single driving directions, one-way driving directions from the point of origin, the business location, to the individual cities. And then you embed those maps in that post, right? Because then basically you're telling Google, hey, we've optimized a page for this location, and we have a single map one-way driving directions from where the business is located out to that area. Now, if it's a point of sale business, like a storefront where people, the customers come to the business location to make purchases or to transact business, then you would do it the opposite way. In other words, the driving directions would be from the township to the business location. But either way, you still embed that map. And what I found is that ends up creating some pretty strong signals. And again, it's not something that if it's a higher competitive term, like there's a lot more competition, you're likely not going to rank in the adjacent areas. I'm just going to let you know. I've tested this many, many times over the years, and it's been difficult. If it's lower competition, just doing what I said is going to help. One other thing that you can do is in your Google My Business listing, in the when you get to add, or it's actually the Google Plus page, the brand page, where you can add the story and the introduction and the story essentially, and you can go. Remember, they got rid of in the Google Plus pages, guys. They got rid of like the links section where you can add like a whole bunch of links and stuff. They got rid of that, but they still have the story and the introduction, or the introduction and the story section, where you can add text and you can hyperlink stuff from there. And so what I would recommend is that, and you can hyperlink with keyword anchors too, by the way. And so what I would recommend is in that story area that you flesh that out and you say, we serve all the following areas. And you can literally create a bullet list and list all of the adjacent areas by keyword, by location name, and then actually link those to those corresponding pages or posts on your site that are optimized for each one of those locations. And now you've got a do follow link from a Google property that's actually linking to them, and with an embedded single one-way direction driving map embedded on there as well. So you're creating this loop of Google properties, and it just really helps to, and again, Jay, it's not something you're going to do, or excuse me, Paul, it's not something that you're going to do like if it's really competitive area, but if it's less competitive, you should start to see some results from that.
You got it. Marco, do you want to add something to Paul's question?
Yeah, Paul, you have to override the proximity part of the algorithm, and the way you do that is power. You can overpower the proximity factor. I mean, fuck. I never know how much I can actually say when I'm saying it. Push power to your drive stack, add power to your drive stack, and that will start to help you override the proximity factor. Send me an email. You got my email. I'll give you more. I won't give you everything in an email.
You got it. So let's go to Steve. Hey, Steve. I'm building a silo category pages for a new site. The main content being my latest sticky post listings. I want to add some topically relevant articles content, 2,000-3,000 words plus pic or videos to these silo pages, getting the best SEO value from the new content while not pushing my latest or sticky post way down the page where readers will miss it. SEO versus user experience. So far, I'm considering the following. How would you compare them from an SEO standpoint? Put the article in accordion at the top. Put after the latest sticky post section, maybe with a teaser jump link at the top. Put an article on another page on my site, an iframe into top of silo page with scroll bars. Put article content into GDoc or Gsite and frame it into top of silo page. I would keep it simple, Steve. If you have a sticky post on the top of the page, I would just, you know, put the article after that, you know, the new articles after that, so that you don't push the sticky down. So that's what I would do. But I think the other stuff like iframing or doing the GDoc plus iframe is a little bit more ninja. I don't know what you guys think.
I was going to say all of the above for like every one of his answers or questions about like proposed methods would work. So
There you go.
all of the above. Like which one makes the most sense from an SEO standpoint? He lists 4 of them. I would say yes.
Right. You got it. So I guess you'll need to test, Steve, because if you're focusing on, which I think you are, if you're focusing on user experience and all of these 4 might work, I would say that focus on that, right? Because they will end up getting SEO benefits. So that's what I would do. So test and see which one works for you in terms of user experience as well, because sometimes it can be hard, like combining SEO. Well, you know, it used to be hard. Now, if you focus on user experience, you usually get your SEO nailed down, right? Because user experience, you need to have good navigation, you need to have silo anyways for structure, you need to have a bunch of stuff. If you're doing fancy sliders or fancy JavaScript, that might screw up with your SEO. But right now, if you stick to the basics of user experience, you usually get a pretty solid on-page SEO. That's my opinion anyways. So
just real quick though, you know, tabbed content in a page or accordion type content in a page, guys, Google still reads that. So it's actually a great way to add additional content to pages and or posts where you can like, especially like what Hernan was just mentioning with user experience. If you've got pages that are like set up for conversions, like to direct a call to action of like make a purchase or opt in or whatever, stuff like that, like submit a contact request form if it's like for contractors or something like that, then you want to keep that singular action. Like you want to drive the user to take the one action that you want them to take. So a lot of the times you don't want to clutter up a page with too much content because it can be distracting. So you can actually put that in an accordion menu or tabbed content, and Google will still read all that. So that's actually a really good way to add additional content without it messing up like your conversion optimization. If that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Steve, we'll keep moving forward because we have little time and we have a bunch of questions. So we'll come back to that because that's a good one. But anyways, Andy, I read this question before and he's saying, hey, Bradley Benner and SM team, I have an Amazon niche website and here's the current website status. And then he comes down to all of the website and all of the status, et cetera, et cetera. So the question is, usually, Andy, we don't do money site reviews on Hump Hangout because it takes a lot of time, number one. And number two, you know, we don't want to expose that. So, you know, you should be joining any of the paid communities if you would. Like, I would suggest the mastermind, of course, but if you want to have your website reviewed, the mastermind is the best way to go. So, but anyways, my question, with the current money site status, is the money site considered SEO optimized and ready to start building more links to it? I think that you're listing everything that has to do with the external stuff. You have some posts here, but we will need to jump into the actual website to see if the snippets are there, you know, if everything is there. And if you're not posting the website, it's kind of hard for us to say if it is SEO optimized or not, right? So that will be my take on it. Now he asks, referring to the battle plan, there's a built link plan for new sites and age sites. For my case, which one should I be following? I think you could be considering an age website because the website is already 11 months old, which I think is good enough. And then you have posts, you have indexing, you have already ranked keywords, even if they are not on page one, right? This is a good signal right here because you have 36 keywords in the top 10 and 3 keywords on the top 3. So, you know, and 59 on the top 30. So I think that you're on a good spot right now to go ahead and push link shoes, right? Or make some more ninja stuff. So the website already has visitors, so it has a lot of data. So I think it will be considered a niche website. Like new websites are completely brand new that you're building pretty much as you go through the battle plan or similar, right? What else can I do to drive more organic traffic to the money site besides engaging link services from SM? Good question. What to start doing since you already have sessions, I would start doing some retargeting. That's not organic, that's paid. But since you already have an asset, right? You need a push and you need more visitors. At the end of the day, now is the time to focus on pushing the asset up on the search engines and building the list and building the retargeting and building those kind of things. So that would be my intake for Andy right here. What do you guys think?
As far as remarketing, building that remarketing list, guys, every one of you should be doing that, because if you've generated the click to your site, and they don't take the action that you desired them to take, which was opt in, make a purchase, whatever action it is, conversion goal you set out for them, then if they leave the site, then you're starting from square one with that lead again. In other words, whatever you did in order to get them to come to your site, if that was search engine optimization and whatever, they have to go through that same process again to be exposed to your site. However, if you've got them on a remarketing list just because they visited your site, now you can remarket to them over and over again to constantly remind them to take that conversion action that they didn't take the first time. Or even if they did take it the first time, now that you have them cookied anyways, and you know that they took a conversion, which means they've moved further along in that sales funnel, further down in the funnel, which means you can market to them with other products or upsells or complementary products and all that kind of stuff. My point is that you should absolutely, guys, be building your remarketing list like what Hernan said, because that is an asset that you can continue to build to where, you know, the hardest part is getting the people to click to your site to begin with. Once that's done, then you have some data about them. You know that they're at least interested. And so it makes it it's a much easier sale or conversion action once you have them on a remarketing list. So I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, and you know what's funny is that even if you have like a 3% conversion rate on your website, that means that 97, which would be pretty cool, right? That means that 97% of people that visit your website did not convert. And that's completely normal. Like most people that visit your website, they will not opt in. Most people that opt in, they will not purchase. Most people that purchase, they will not consume the content. You know what I'm saying? So you need to keep remarketing. And I completely agree with what Brian is saying. 100% remarketing game or remarketing strategy is usually pretty cheap, you know, cheaper than going out and trying to get cold traffic, because the heavy lifting is now being done by Google. So if all you did was to build your list and get some remarketing in place, I think that you will be in a really, really good position to build this even stronger. So,
your most expensive visitor is a new visitor. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Your most expensive visitor is a new visitor.
Yeah.
Somebody 100%. That's already visited your site can be like, it's so much more cost effective to bring them back to your site if you've done it, if you've got your remarketing set up properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Conversely, the most expensive client is a new client, you know, because you need to build that relationship from scratch. So yeah, cool. So Chris saying, in the battle plan webinar, you talked about the importance of posting content to a blog during and after links are built into the syndication network. You mentioned something about money content and filler content. Were you implying that money content or high authority post content should be on pages on my blog, while filler content?
Did we lose Hernan?
No, it looks like he's muted. Hernan, you might have hit the mute button.
Whoops, I think I fell.
All right,
there you go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, probably just start over with that question.
So he's actually asking if we should be doing, let me fix it here. He's basically asking if because we mentioned on that battle plan webinar that we did, we mentioned the difference between money content and filler content, right? And he's asking if the money content should be set up on pages instead of posts. What do you think? I think that they could be either. I usually do everything on posts, but that's my intake on it. I don't actually have enough data to say pages are better than posts in that regard. What do you guys think?
All right, my take is that it typically what I do, Chris, is on my sites, I have money pages. I usually use the blog for supporting articles within a silo. So if it's a simple silo structure, then I'm going to have top level pages, and then I'm going to have supporting posts. That's it. There's not subcat. It's top level pages and top level categories, and then supporting posts. Period. That's it. It's a very simple structure. That's why it's titled a simple silo structure. A complex silo structure can have top level pages, and then which are called parent pages, and then child pages, and likewise top level categories, and then child categories as well. And then you have supporting posts. And so that's the complex silo. And so that requires a different type of setup. In your case specifically, with what you're asking about, I typically have money pages on the site. Those are going to be the things that I'm going to try to optimize and push SEO equity into through the posts, the supporting posts within that particular silo. Pages don't typically get syndicated out to a network because that's just not the way it works. Pages don't get included in an RSS feed. Now, there are plugins that will do that. There's a plugin for WordPress called RSS includes pages or include pages. I'm not sure if it's plural or singular, but it's RSS include pages. Just go do a Google search, you'll find that. And that will actually, every time you publish a new page, will actually push it into the RSS feed, which means it can syndicate. I typically don't do that because here's the reason why. If you publish a non-SEO page, like in other words, like if you were to publish a contact us page or an about us page or privacy policy or terms of service page or something like that, that would insert it into the RSS feed. Granted, you could wait to install that RSS includes pages plugin until after those other pages have been published, like your standard pages have been published. There's a number of things you can do. There's also plugins that you can do to specify particular categories only get pushed into the feed. So there's ways to kind of like prevent certain pages from going into the feed if you're going to go that route. But just to explain, to kind of simplify this, Chris, what I typically do is I start with publishing money pages. So pages with my authority content. Those are the things that I'm trying to rank in search. So they're authority content, they're optimized well, and they're set up for conversion. Okay. And they don't typically get pushed out across my network. I don't care about that. What I then do is then publish supporting articles as posts, which do get syndicated to the network, that have links within the body of the post that point to the pages that I'm trying to rank in search. So in other words, I use the blog as an off-page, well, as a link building method, as well as an internal linking method to boost the SEO or to boost the pages in the search results, which are where I really want to drive the traffic to, if that makes sense. So authority content typically for me means on the pages themselves. And as you call it, filler content, I don't really call it filler content because the content should still add value. And filler content seems to be like something that you just do because you feel like you need content. Properly optimized and curated posts, which is what we use typically, should still add value to your overall blog. So it's not really filler content, but they're used specifically with the purpose of boosting pages on the site. At least that's the way that I do it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And this is a good question. I'm pretty new to the SEO services and new to SEO in general. What would you recommend as a game plan for learning and educating myself if I am a complete brand new? Where to go from 0 to hero in a course of 1-2 years? I would say to start with a battle plan, Chris. If you don't have it yet, then go to Syndication Academy and then join the mastermind from the procedures of your business, right? So the point is that you go through the battle plan, you implement the battle plan, you start making some money, right? You use that money to invest into Syndication Academy, which would make you even more money, and you use that money and the procedures from your business to join the mastermind, because at the end of the day, what we're doing in the mastermind for the next year is going to be the entire business building, not only SEO, but business building, and that will help you go from 0 to hero. I would say in pretty short time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam, please.
It's Marco, but what I was going to say is you have to be consistent, right? If you're just starting out, there's so many things that you have to do, that you have to find how you can become consistent and how you can consistently replicate everything that works while you learn from all of the mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes. I would say that you avoid foolish consistency. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time is, foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds, which means you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you know it doesn't work, but you're consistent, but you know it doesn't work. You're never going to get anywhere that way. So you have to be consistent and you have to be productive. It's the things that we teach, in fact, in Semantic Mastery, all the way through, from here in Hump Day Hangouts to in Syndication Academy. In everything we do, we teach you consistency, productivity, and business building. So, I mean, where do you go? I think we've set up a really good way for you to start learning your SEO. So you might want to start thinking, as Hernan said, about jumping in the bandwagon and coming and joining people who are having success.
I agree. Let me just give my take very quickly, guys. I know we're almost out of time, but I'm going to take a different approach than what Hernan said, in that, and this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, guys, but I would recommend starting with the battle plan, yes. And because the battle plan is going to point you into procedures, like specific action items that you can implement without you even having to do the work, because we provide you with the resources, the place that you can go to get the work done. Marco just mentioned consistency. If you're learning how to do all this stuff on your own, in other words, if you're the technician learning how to build these assets and perform these techniques, right, these procedures on your own, you are going to make mistakes. There's no question. But if you outsource it to a team that has already developed the processes, then you're going to get consistent results from the orders that you submitted, because we build them consistently. So my point is, what I would suggest doing is using the battle plan to develop processes for being able to fulfill potential services. Like, in other words, I would recommend going out and learning how to onboard clients or service providers if you're doing lead gen, right? And then create the process of fulfilling the work, fulfilling the services through outsourcing it, so that you don't have to do all the work yourself, number one. Number two, so that it's done consistently, because it's done by people that have been trained to do it consistently, which would be like our team, for example. And so instead of graduating from the battle plan to Syndication Academy, which, once again, Syndication Academy absolutely works, is the foundation of everything that we do, guys. But Syndication Academy is going to teach you how to build networks. But you can buy networks built to our specifications already. So why, personally, in my opinion, I would go from battle plan, use that as a way to fulfill services that you can sell. So get good at selling, get good at prospecting, get good at finding service providers, fulfill the services that you're selling with SERP, start generating revenue, then come join the mastermind. Because the mastermind is going to, like, especially starting in January when we start this new education track, guys, it's going to be about how to take your business from start all the way through by the end of the year to, like, just having a massive, scalable, dominating type of business that you can then repeat that process again with another business or another niche, another industry. So again, I'm not suggesting you guys don't take or join Syndication Academy. I'm just suggesting that there are other ways to scale a business instead of learning how to build networks, especially when you have a team of builders at your disposal that will build them to exact specifications.
You got it. So I think that's going to be it, guys, for today. So sorry about that. We have a bunch of questions. This is pretty cool from Greg, actually. So anyways, if you have any questions, that we couldn't, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. So if you had any questions that couldn't be answered today, come on the next Hump Day. It's completely free. You can also join the Facebook group. If you search for SEO and Marketing by Semantic Mastery, you can also join us there. We are pretty active over there, and that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Hernan. Thanks, everybody. Good to get through the questions. Like I said, if didn't get your questions answered, be sure to hop on early, get the questions posted. Like I said, within 24 to 36 hours from now, we'll have the new page up, and you can always post your questions in case you can't make it live.
Yeah. So Bradley, success this weekend, and send us some picture. If you met with Chris, send us some picture, post it on the Facebook group. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think Chris and I are going to have dinner tonight together. So
Cool, man.
We'll take some pictures. Maybe do a Facebook Live video or something.
Why not? All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right,
See
guys.
ya.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.